Good evening, folks, and welcome to, I almost said FMA discussion, out of habit. Wow. Any rate, welcome to Marshall Matt, episode 3. So tonight we having Tuhon Bill on. We're not covering his bio. Those are on FMA discussion. I would resort you to check those out. And there, if you need to know the number and all that, I can certainly provide you that. Just send me a message. So, but tonight's going to be about his 2 articles that he posted in FMA discussion. One is knife cults. The other is, just careful with the videos you're pushing out there for our social media with knife work and etc. So Renee should be joining me shortly. We did get one question in from Joe, which I'm going to tie into the video as far as law enforcement, how to go about that and there. But without further ado, here he is, Tuhon Bill. Hey, how are you?
Hi, folks. So let's start with a little bit of a recap from yesterday and kind of the overview of where we're going. We were talking about cults and how to not go too far in certain directions with things. Basically, I led with a video I saw from a former CIA operative who's on a woman's self-defense type of show. And he gave the statistic that between psychopaths and sociopaths are about 4% of the adult population in any group around the world. And if you add narcissists to that, that brings the total number of crazies, of potentially dangerous crazies, up to 10%. The United States has 330 some odd million people. 300 million people of those are adults. That means there were 30 million dangerously psychopathic individuals, or sociopathic, however you want to phrase it now. Individuals, 30 million, that's 10% of the adult population, dangerous, crazy people in the United States. So our problem and the balance we should be seeking as martial arts instructors, especially if you're teaching something weapons-based, is how do you give good information to the 90% of the adult population who are not dangerous, crazy people, while not inciting the 10% who are dangerous, crazy people. And then there's that gray area in the middle. Young men who are directionalists, who don't have a good family structure, are easily swayed by, older adult or stronger looking adult males in their sphere of influence. And they're at a fork in the road and they can go either way. They're not crazy, but they could develop bad habits, bad morals. It's very enticing to follow the big, strong leader. That's something very, innate in male psychology and the developed structure of the brain. Let me give you one more example of how that works. Male sports fans, when their team wins, have a rise in testosterone, and when their team loses, they have a reduction of testosterone after their team wins or loses. There's a big tie-in in the psyche of males to having a strong leader. That's how you go out on a hunt. That's how you bring back food for your family. That's how you are a successful male. So you have those two groups there that you have to be careful of. You have the crazy people that you don't want to give information to that could help them hurt the good people. You want to get the good information to the good people, and you want to steer the young males who may go wrong in the right direction. So how do you find that?
I think there's exceptions to all that. Like, to be honest with you, it's like honestly, like when my instructor first met me, I was like one of the people that you would say, I don't want to teach this guy how to, how to pull a fork out of his pocket. And if it wasn't for him, then I would have gone the other way. So I think what it comes down to is leadership and steering people in the right direction. And I've had people who you would look at and say, I wouldn't teach this guy if my life depended on it. But it comes down to strong leadership and teaching them like the values that you think your art or what a good human being is. So I don't disagree with you, but I disagree with you.
Okay,
So,
you came in a little late after my intro. So
oh.
I was going over the 10% of the population were dangerous psychopaths. I was talking about the 90%, which are not insane and we're going to treat as good people, how to get the good information to the good people. Then I said there's a gray area where you have youth, especially males, who could come to a fork in the road and could go either way.
Yeah.
And they get attracted to strong males. But if it's the morality is not necessarily the draw, it's the strength. So it can go either way.
The problem is in today's society, you can have the nicest person in the world turn very easily under the right circumstances. Like it sounds like
a lot of people under stress who crack.
It's like I've seen people who are the nicest people in the world who were given the wrong stimuli, and they're like, "Fuck this! Let's burn the world down." So. And again, I'm just giving you, this is just my opinion, and I'm not saying I'm right. I'm just giving you my side of that coin, right?
Well, there is that factor. You have to say that. Yeah.
And, Dean, did you get a haircut? Because your hair's looking awesome today.
No, I just don't. I just got a shower and I didn't do anything with it.
Oh, look at that. Oh, I know someone who got a haircut.
There was no haircut at the Franco house today.
Okay.
And again, like for me, like, sorry, Tuhon, like for me, it's just, I want this to be a conversation amongst friends, right? So like, and again, this is just an opinion. I am by no means qualified to sit here and say that I know what's best.
Good points.
But I think there's just so many factors when it comes to teaching people or training that.
I would agree. It's a complex situation.
Literally have to use our gut and just say, I don't like this person, or there's something off about this person, or I think this person may go the wrong way.
Yeah. So I mentioned last night, and I said something to Dean before that you didn't hear. I'm a bit under the weather. I just got done 5 days of antibiotics for a lung infection. So I'd like to keep this to an hour tonight. Because I'm feeling kind of drained.
Fine. Yeah, no problem.
Yeah. So the focus for me, I think the jumping off point for Dean is what should be put on public videos, public information for everyone to see that you can't really filter out. So like there's a gray area in martial art videos. I go into it in my post in be careful of what you post on martial art videos, on knife videos, of that, there's one thing of showing the dangers of using old-fashioned empty hand versus knife technique, which is maybe designed for another area, another culture, another time. And there's another thing with showing sentry removal, what I call ambush technique, where you come up on a guy and you're showing how a criminal could kill somebody. And you're kind of instructing on how to do that. Now, yes, the bad guys who have been through the prison system already know that. What I'm worried about that specific type of thing is the young hotheads who are at the fork in the road and don't know which way to go.
Questionable young guys, right?
Yeah. So this is, to me, the focus tonight is what do you put out in public on video, especially with social media these days. Taking people into your school individually is a much more face-to-face, very different thing. So if we're just keeping it to an hour tonight, because I'm going to run out of steam possibly before that, the question is, what do you show in public? Where is to me, like maybe the question that can be answered in an hour is, where is the dividing line between a public video that brings the good people to you and gives them an idea of what they might have to face, but does not, you probably don't have to worry about the hardcore prison guys learning anything new from you. What you're worried about is the amateurs and the young guys. There's a saying they tell me in Italy, or not a saying, there's some advice they gave me. They say you go up into northern Italy and the mafia's there, but they tell the guys, do not touch the tourists. Don't ruin our breadbasket. And even in Sicily, they have good control. Do not touch the tourists. Naples is dangerous. You got a lot of young mafia wannabes who will go and mug a tourist and do anything they want. And it's wild west of the movies, not The real Wild West wasn't that wild. But a lot of young wannabes who are the dangerous ones. These are the rogue elephants, if you've heard that phrase from Africa, who are dangerous and will attack tourists. So I think the big danger for us martial arts instructors putting things out on the internet for free that anybody can have access to is that group of young males who don't have good, strong moral direction in their life. One quick aside. I'll let you guys talk for a while. I have to.
I think for me,
one quick aside. You remember in the old years ago, they used to have girls who would charge insurance on their car, would get a lower rate starting at 21. They waited until 25 to give the men the lower rate because the male brain did not develop until 25. But actually, it doesn't fully develop the male brain until late 30s, early 40s. The girl's brain, late 20s, is fully, completely developed. So there are some religious rites. It may be among the Jews. What is the inner, not rabbis, but something a little more. Anyway, you have to be 40. You can't learn this stuff until you're 40. So if you look at the male brain, getting halfway mature at 25 and fully mature till 40, you got to be careful. So on that note, let's focus tonight on
I
what can we
fully
put in
mature
public
until I was
safety.
50.
Yeah, some of us. Yeah. Well, actually, there is a maturity gene, and some people don't ever mature.
I think Renee.
I got sent home in kindergarten with a note to my mother saying, "Mrs. McGrath, why are you trying to send a 40-year-old midget to my class?"
The way I look at it is like when I teach people, or if I decide to show something as far as a video is concerned, I look at it as like feeding the fish. I take the food, I throw it in the top of the tank, and it kind of slowly dissipates, and whoever bites and decides to come my way, I decide whether or not I want to teach them more, right? Like that's the way I look at it.
Yeah.
Because again, I've been around for a while, so, and I'm not saying I'm always right, but I definitely decide who I teach when it comes to this kind of stuff, right?
Yeah.
And
so my question is, what is in the fish food? What is the stuff that goes out in the public? What is the stuff that does not go out in the public?
Intent.
I think it's the sentry stuff you're talking about, like coming up behind somebody and showing how to take somebody out. I mean,
the ambush stuff is the thing I worry about the most. Or
you're coming up to a guy, there's no dialogue, there's no context, and the guy just starts going off on the end there. And this is going to kind of segue into Joe's question, because I know you only have an hour. Renee, go ahead.
He has an hour and a half.
Yeah. Joe has an hour and a half. Okay. Renee. Go ahead. Anyway, go ahead, guys.
Renee, go ahead, and I'll find a question.
To me, it's just, listen, as far as I'm concerned, the knife, when you teach knife, it's murder. It's not, like anything pretty about it. Like and any attack I've ever seen or witnessed or had happen on me, there is, the person didn't want to scare me. They wanted to take me out. And that's
when the criminals initiate. Yes. But I can give you an example of when a knife we used in a pure self-defense situation. My wife and I were newly married, painting the house. This is in the early 1990s in upstate in Dutchess County, New York. I'm painting the living room with one color. We run out of paint. And my wife says, and I say, okay, I'll go to Home Depot, get some more paint. She goes, and no, you stay here. We got other paint for the other room. You go paint that room, start at the top and go down. I'll go to Home Depot, get more white, I think it was, come back. 20 minutes later, she comes back. This is on a Saturday afternoon in August. She's going to a local Home Depot in a suburban area. Okay, all you Americans know, probably Canadians too, how safe is a Home Depot parking lot on a Saturday afternoon, 2 or 3 o'clock in the afternoon in a suburban area in North America, right?
Pretty safe.
He comes back crying, tears coming down. What happened? These guys tried to grab me and kidnap me. When I got to calm down, what happened was she gets out of the car. She's got sweatpants on, sweatshirt. She's probably got dabs of paint. Her hair is in a ponytail. She's not dressed sexy in it. Two guys gonna have a pickup truck. Hey, baby, we're going to a party. You want to come? No, leave me alone, guys. Keeps walking. She grew up in the Bronx, so she's not gonna naively step and talk to him. Come on, baby, come with us. We're going to a party. Guys, leave me alone. I'm married. I don't want to go to a party with you. Leave me alone. She go and they go, oh, you're not married. You're not wearing any rings. She didn't have rings on. You know, we're painting. Guys, leave me alone. They take another step towards her. She goes in. She pulls out a pocket knife. It was the old Spyderco Endura. They used to go to clip it back then, the plastic handle. So get back, and I'm going to gut you right here. Their face goes white. They run into the car. The pickup truck wheels spin, throwing smoke. They dive out of here. She puts the thing back in her pocket, and once they're gone, she collapses. Doesn't buy paint. Comes home, barely gets home, collapses in my arms. She tells what happens. Give me two more examples of psychology, and then a little story. She is. What the heck? Yeah, you see balloons go in the background. Okay.
Congratulations.
I cannot take credit for that.
Yeah, and that's how most civilian defense against criminals with firearms go. Is the bad guy comes up, the good guy pulls the firearm, the bad guy runs away, the good guy puts the firearm away and does not fire anything, does not report it to the police.
If you show your weapon, you're trying to scare people, and just it's like a dog. If the dog shows you his teeth, it's warning you, stay the fuck away.
Yeah.
But
all right. So here's some other things. Here's some other things. A few months later, she had a job that was working in Midtown Manhattan. Actually, no, lower side near Chinatown on the river. So it was like 2-hour commute each way. She had some monthly filings she had to do she was in a bank legal department. Monthly filings she had to do. She gets home late at night. She's on the subway at night, pretty much by herself in that car. She grew up in the Bronx. She speaks 2 dialects of Chinese and English. She grew up here. But there's a lot of Spanish people in the Bronx, and some reason Hispanic people in the Bronx had a problem with Chinese people at the time. I don't know why. The 3 Hispanic girls younger than her get on, and they look at her, and they're sitting across the subway car, and the one in the middle talks to the other 2, and they break off, go on her side of the car, and start inching towards her, and the 3 of them in the triangle formation are giggling and talking, getting closer and closer. So she's got this nylon attaché case with the knife inside, puts her hand in, the car stops at the next stop. She goes, opens it, click, but does not take her hand out and just looks at them calmly. They go white, they go running out of the car. She said it almost felt like the temperature in the car went down, the way they looked, you know. And then she put the knife away, and she could not wait to tell me what happened. It was, hey, guess what happened? Different fear level. 2 more stories. You're gonna hear a lot of stories, guys. I'm sorry, it's a shorthand for me. My dad was in the Navy. You
got 90 minutes, so let's
we might go to 90 minutes for my stories. My dad was in the Navy in the 50s. He was a swimming instructor on board the ship. He had the shipboard record of push-ups, 250 push-ups. One of his thumbs was bent 90 degrees this way because he was doing 1 thumb push-ups. Very strong guy. He was a wrestler in high school, tremendously strong. When I was 15, one of my friends was coming over. We were talking martial arts. My dad was a big fat guy by that point. Hey, Mr. McGrath, and we're talking wrestling and martial arts. Hey, Mr. McGrath, you still can move pretty quick with all that weight on? And that was annoying to my dad. Said, yeah, Ramon, come on, punch. So the kid punched. He blocked it, put the fist through it between his legs with one hand, and then with his left hand, put his hand on his belly and pressed this guy who was 175 pounds at the time. He was a big kid. Up above his head. What do you think, Ramon? Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And just lowered him down safely. Now, that's when I was 15. When I was 10 years old, my dad brought myself at 10, and my brother, who was 2, to the playground. We were running around playing, little kids. My little brother's 2 in diapers. He ran over to the playground, rubber step, and somebody took the bullnose graduated end, hit the edge, and smacked his head on the metal sliding pond back in those days, opened up a hole in his head like this, right? Bleeding down his face. He's crying. My dad, who a few years later could bench press, one-handed press, 175 kid like this above his head, goes to pick my brother up. How much does a 2-year-old baby weigh? Could not get him off the ground more than 6 inches. Bill, come on, come with me. And we ran to the car. He's running with him, duck walking, could not pick him up all the way. Got him in the car. I held the baby. He zipped to my house. My mom came. Ran upstairs, told mom. Mom came down with a bunch of diapers, cloth diapers in those days, pressed against the kid, said, my mom was cool as a cucumber. My dad drove over to the hospital. As soon as they passed the baby to the doctors, my dad was calm and relieved. My mom collapsed. I told you last night the story of Leo when his first wife, Isabel, was 8 months pregnant, is hemorrhaging from the uterus at 8 months pregnant, comes out of the bedroom, second towel full of blood. Leo's white as a ghost. Me, Mike Franchiotti were there. This is in Eddie Joffrey's apartment. The guy family was staying with them. Everyone's going crazy like a chicken with no head. We're panicking. The only one who was calm was the one who had training, the nurse, the injured person, the woman who was 8 months pregnant and hemorrhaging from her uterus on her second bath towel full of blood was the calmest person in the room. And she told us exactly what to do. Another story. A female officer in Las Vegas was coming home from a shift with groceries, goes and female officer's got a fanny pack on. Guy comes out, wants to carjack her car, comes out, shoot her in the liver. The doctor said after the fact that the liver was shot into 5 pieces. It was a non-survivable wound. She took out a .357 from the fanny pack, shot the bad guy dead, got on the phone, called an ambulance. She stayed alive. They were going to go and release her on 3/4 salary from the department. She wouldn't do it. I don't know, 6 months later, she's back on patrol. The guy who told me the story was one of my students out there, John Gentile, was detective for the PD out there, Metro PD. He said she really had a tough attitude. It was her attitude that got her 90% through that. She was just one tough cookie, and she's still a tough cookie, despite having a bullet wound through the liver that the medical doctor said was non-survivable. One more story. Female officer is off duty walking into putting a grocery away in a parking lot. Sees a guy walking back and forth up and down the roads, looking up in cars, getting closer and closer. Her alarm bells, her spidey senses tingling the guy that gets closer. She doesn't kind of rush the groceries in the back of the car and try to shut the door real quick and get away. No, she puts the groceries back in her cart, gets behind the cart, opens up. The guy's walking towards her. She opens up her fanny pack, puts her right leg back, more of a shooting stance, puts her hand in the fanny pack. Can I help you, sir? No. Boom, runs off. One more story.
Actually, can we actually go back to like one of the things that we really want to talk about is, the history.
I got Joe's question too. So
yes,
like the history of like you through PTK. I don't want to dismiss the stories that you're telling us, but since we have limited time, can we actually go through the history of PTK? Like, we were talking about, when you started with Leo when you were 14. And
okay, so I'll do that.
Hold on. And then I just want to know, like, again,
Dean did say at the start
when you started to when you became a Tuhon was 25 years. What is that journey? Like, because a lot of
it was 19 years. So I started in February of 75.
19 years. Okay, because a lot of people now are doing it in 4 years. So
yeah, okay. So I want to say the summer of '94, Leo promoted me to Tuhon. It was supposed to be 20 years. When we wrote out the curriculum in the rank format in the late 80s, he said Tuhon is not supposed to be 20 years. He gave it to me early. I think he was, and he was friends with Nene Tortal at the time, his uncle. He was impressed with the videos I had done for Lionheart. And I think he liked the way I described the system and my teaching style. And that's the impression I got. So I got it a year early. But since then, when I've promoted my guys to Tuhon, it's been 20 years. All right. So anyway, next part of your question. Renee.
So it takes 19 years to become a Tuhon.
It takes 20 years to become a Tuhon normally.
20 years, whatever it is. And like I'm like watching people now who are getting Tuhon in 2 to 3 years. Like, what has been
politics? I'm not talking politics on the show.
Okay, fair enough.
Dean, you had a question?
It's from Joe. And Joe's question is, I thought it was a good one, kind of centering around the whole video thing. So Joe's kind of like, Joe within WPM is kind of like our guy. He basically works with law enforcement, and basically what he does is how to be the best bad guy. And so he'll come out with these, Renee's seen some of them. They're just crazy. Like he'll just come out with this hidden stuff. He'll have a phone here, then a gun comes out. I mean, just really has like really perfected his craft and put time into it. His question is, could you ask Tuhon Bill for advice on how to show people, police officers in particular, possible ambush attack scenarios without posting ambush videos? I love to share what I've developed, but don't want the wrong people watching it. Which is why we keep Joe's stuff right in WPM group, because we don't want anybody seeing this stuff, because it's just that, like I'm telling you. Like,
all right, I guess 2 questions. What do you show in public? And maybe Dean has you guys have the better take on this, what technology can use to let it out to only certain people.
So what he's currently doing,
yeah,
he currently works with an air marshal, Chad Edward. Chad Doolin is his real name.
Yeah, Chad, I know Chad.
Yeah. And he'll show them there, but it's in a very closed, confined, nobody's going to leak this stuff.
Okay, so
there's
I got 2 ideas.
Value to what he's showing, but he doesn't want to put it out there.
Yeah.
Those balloons, I don't know where they're coming from.
One is what Leo used to do with us is, on your way home, look for the ambush points, have in your head, if somebody comes out from your right and what's going on, what are you going to do? Someone comes out from your left from this point, and they're going to go. I'll tell you now a quick story. It's what happens when you get to old guys. They got stories. So I was about 19 to 20 years old. Some of the guys, the Leo students, were correctional officers. They're working as off-duty security, moonlighting security guards. They got me in there. Did not have a badge, did not have a gun. They were being nice. They got me in there. I was too young, inexperienced. I wasn't a court officer till 25. But anyway, so I was working at a drugstore, convenience store, security in Jamaica, Queens, which was a rough area even then. And the store owners were Israeli Americans, but tough guys that had been through the Israeli army, pretty tough guys. So what happened was one of the managers was in front of here argument. I go running up there. I'm plain clothes. We have a uniform security guard, official security guard, but my job was to wander around and, just watch things, being plain clothes. All I had on me was an old telescopic baton that Leo gave me. That was, way before. It was a Japanese spring-loaded one with a little tonfa handle or something. Not tonfa, jute handle. Anyway, so I go out and they're arguing with the guy, and it was 2 known pickpockets, and they're throwing them out of the store. So the manager sees me come up, and he says, "Okay, you guys want to fight? Yeah, we'll go outside and fight with you." Right? Because he thinks I have a badge and a gun. So the manager walks out. Behind him, like do that. The manager walks out. Behind him is one bad guy, bad guy number 2. I'm over here. So I see them walking out. I see bad guy number 1 put his hand in his right pocket. Bad guy number 2 walks away, right? He's gone. So I'm over here. And just growing up in New York, Leo never said this to me, but Leo teaching me think ahead, growing up in New York. I see his hand go into his pocket. I say, okay, if he stops behind the manager, he's going to pull out a knife, open up, and stab him in the back. If he walks past the manager and then takes his hand out of the pocket, he's going to open the knife and slash the manager and run away. So I was right behind him. I believe bad guy number 1 was so focused on the manager, he didn't see me walking behind him. So I saw him go past, knife comes out, hand comes out of the pocket. I go and I grab him in a wrist lock, and I look down and realize, oh, shoot, it's a straight razor. I don't know how to disarm that. So I get him in a wrist lock, throw him against the car, shake it, drop the knife. Finally hurt his arm enough, he drops the knife, I kick it under the car. right? And then the uniform security comes out. Okay, cuff me. You just tried to cut the manager. It's outside the store. I'm not allowed to do anything. So push the guy away. Get out of here. You bad. You think you're bad. You ain't bad. Want to come back? Meanwhile, they're backing up and they run away. So the point of that story is how to, you can learn certain things by imagination, by imagining, by problem solving your head on the way there, like playing a chess game and moving 2 or 3 steps ahead. Quick question. I saw a law enforcement guy. Let me ask the law enforcement guy's question. I'm sorry, I'm going to interrupt a lot of Renee, I'm sorry.
Speaking of imagination, what's your thought on these knife cults and like what's going on these days with people teaching knife work?
Okay, I'll get into that. They found in law enforcement training, I was defensive tactics and firearms instructor in my department for a while. Defensive tactics for like 20 out of the 30 years. They found that if an officer saw situations, was exposed to a situation one time, he had a much better reaction time than an officer was surprised by it when it actually happened under stress. Now, organizations who are teaching knife, you have to be so careful. There's a lot of people get into knife. I just posted something today on the karambit and magic swords. Men are, when you want hunter-gatherer societies, usually the men who did the hunting, go out and traveled. That's why the symbol for man is a moving arrow. And the woman was sitting around camp gathering and farming and doing things like that. That's why I had men have, better endurance, more upper body strength, et cetera, et cetera. More risk takers die relatively earlier because they have more accidents and death through accidents and everything. But they are tool-making creatures, so they know historically through many, many years, if you have a better tool, it gives you an advantage. The Native Americans, when the European got here, as a one-to-one warrior with the same tools, were probably better warriors. But the Europeans with firearms had much better tools, better weapons. So they were exponentially could win over a bigger group if they fought, our weapons versus your weapons, not our skill level versus your skill level. So there's an instinctive or learned understanding that a better tool makes a big difference. So that there's a lot of, I call whatever the best knife is at the time, that's the Excalibur. And you see cults built around different weapons. And one Bowie knife guy called the Bowie knife the American Excalibur. And that's very accurate. It's the mythical American blade. How do you fight that? You fight that by being honest with people. You fight that by making sure the teacher does not become a cult of personality. You fight that with a lot of sparring, where they say, hey, I'm good. This guy's a little bit better than me, and I can cut him. Or I'm a lot better than this other guy. I'm still getting cut during sparring if that was a real knife. I have an article on one of my blog posts. Go to Piketty blog, and it'll take you right to my thing. Does size matter is one of my knife articles, and it shows examples of people taking tremendous wounds and still being able to fight. The U.S. Army in the 50s, I believe, did a study. I'm not sure how they came up with this spookily exact figure, but they said you can survive, you can function for up to 14 seconds when the oxygen is deprived from your brain.
Sorry, guys. Like, what are we actually talking about here? I'm kind of lost. I thought we were.
I'm trying to answer your questions.
Okay, then answer my question then, because what are we talking?
What's the question?
Like, what's your thought on the knife cults and what's going on today, and what people are teaching? Like, what is your thought on this whole thing? Like,
okay, I'm trying to solve the problem. You're asking me to define the problem. All right, so
let's tie that in if we can. Let's tie that into Kurt's question. It kind of will fold in nicely here. What is your thoughts on the prison knife systems / cult systems? I mean, obviously the prison systems can be viewed as cult depending on how they operate their system.
All right, first we have to define what a cult is. my friend Jack Latour posted a article from, it was a Japanese martial art guy defining what a cult is and a martial art cult. And some of the things are classic cult things. The leader is infallible. You're not allowed to go outside the group. You're not allowed to question the group, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
Wow, it's like a PTK thing.
There's a lot of that. I'll tell you. So here's the thing with young men and young men easily getting into cultist behavior.
I've seen it early, and the system.
Let's get that pig slaughtered on top of us, or the chicken.
Yeah. Well, not only have I seen it, I've done it. When I was in my early 20s and late teens, I was a fanatic about Leo. I wanted to learn the whole system. He was like my second father.
You were impressionable.
I was impressionable. So 80, 81, I was in California, both in 80 to 81, winter of 80, 81, no, winter of 79 and 80, and then again, winter of 80 and 81, I was in California. It was San Jose, California in 79, 80. It was Los Angeles, 80 and 81. I think this happened in the 80, 81 period. Leo had done a seminar or a demo at the West Coast Streamer Society gathering with all the West Coast Streamer people. And he had something where he did a little dance with a stick or sword and dagger and things like that. We did a lot of fancy stuff and a lot of flow. It was very smooth, right? And then he heard that one of Dan Santo's guys had gone up afterwards after he left and started making fun of him, right? So he got pissed, and he went back and was going to go back in the school and you tell that guy he's dead, huh? Called Dan, you tell him he's dead. And he drove over there, had somebody drive him there, and he got in a big fight with Richard Bastillo, and they had to separate them, and they both pulled out blades. And this one guy, I think it was Dave Wink, who's big guy, like it was one of the sparring partners for Eric Canal, so that tells, and equal sparring partner to Eric Canal, successful. So that tells you how big and strong he was. You know him?
No chance.
Yeah.
No goddamn chance he was. But
well, he was very strong. Anyway.
Well, he might be very strong, but he's no goddamn chance he's close to Eric Knaus. I'm just letting you know.
Ask Eric. I forget the details.
I will.
Ask Eric. Okay. So he was sparring partner of Eric. But anyways, a big, strong guy. When they were fighting, Dave Wink gets hold of Leo in a full Nelson. Leo's there with the knife, and Mike Franchiotti was there, and he's like looking from this, and it's like he's about to stab this guy's arm. It's his own student, and Mike had to get him in front and take his eyes off of what's his name? Danny's partner at the time.
Oh, what's that?
Dan Inosanto's partner at that time. Filipino guy. Who am I thinking of?
Oh,
I just mentioned his name.
Dan Bastillo?
Bastillo. So Bastillo, he has to get Leo's eyes off Bastillo, and he was able to talk Leo down. Got Leo in the car, drove him away. They went a couple of blocks. Okay, I'm calm. Let me just I gotta go take a piss in the bushes. Opens the car, Leo gets out, walks, and starts walking back the other way. They had to back the van up and get Leo in the car. So I was in LA at the time, but I wasn't at that event. And then I heard a different Inosanto guy at the time and they all broke off from Dan. I think they became part of the nucleus at one point. But he was making fun of Leo again. So I go screaming down there with Mike Franchiotti, and I go into Richard Bastillo, who's a bad man, who was really tough. But thankfully for me, this young 20-year-old stupid kid was a very patient man. So I go in there and I said, "Where's so-and-so? And I want to challenge him to a fight, not spar, have fight." He said, this about Leo. I want to know if it's true. And Richard said, "Bill, you can't go off like that. Just calm down." And he had very, very understanding with me. Had to talk with me, calm me down, and I left. And the guy ended up calling Leo and apologizing. And but I was on a hair trigger when I was that age. You know,
young, impressionable, immature. You're following this figure that obviously
it really changes.
Or doesn't have your best intentions in mind.
Yeah. And that's Leo didn't tell me to do that. I just did that because I was a young, stupid male. I posted a video on my timeline from Jordan Peterson talking about the dark male triad. And I think about the middle, he talks about how men really change after 25, especially get married, have responsibilities, and that really changes your brain. Go ahead, Renee. I know I'm boring you to tears.
No. I'm trying to be very polite here when I say this. If you really have a beef with somebody, no one's going to talk you out of it. And I'm trying to be respectful, but I'm having a hard time. So I'm just being very quiet right now.
Well, if he was there, I would have fought him.
Sure.
You know, and my parents were very good people. Everyone loved my parents. They treated everyone nicely.
What do your parents have to do with the fight?
The upbringing. I let this older guy talk me into some wisdom.
Nonsense. If you wanted to really fight, you would have. So like, don't say like your parents did this because you have been brought up nicely.
Well,
like that's nonsense. If you wanted to fight somebody, fight them. Like, stop talking bullshit. Let's just go for it. Like, this is nonsense. Absolute fucking nonsense.
You know, we have different personalities.
No, we don't.
Right,
you know, like, if you're gonna say you're gonna fight somebody, you fight him, and don't bring up like, you know, oh, I would have done it, but I didn't because my parents were nice people. Like, come on.
Let's just always grew up in a nice Catholic family.
If you wanted to fight somebody, you fight him, and that's the end. I'm done with it. Like, seriously, like the amount of bullshit I hear from you PTK people is insane.
Yeah, but
I'm not allowed to mature.
All right, guys, let's.
I'm not allowed to mature.
All right, guys, okay. We got. All right, we got like 16 or so minutes. I know, Tuhon Bill, you're not feeling well. Okay. Your thoughts, just because Kurt brought up a couple questions and I don't want to ignore them. Let me just back up. Just bear with me here. Oh, I understand this point. Friends and curious. Okay, so I guess, you know, within the knife cult and all that, I guess we have to define, you know, what. And you kind of did, I mean, the behavior they requested you, fathers, other associations, factions. I mean, I've seen it go as bad as where they'll tell the other people to unfriend other people, you know, other folks from different faction. I've just seen that recently. It's just crazy what some of these people do. They'll lose their complete self-identity and just everything. And this just happened very recently, by the way. But what is your thought? Do you when you look at the prison systems of being taught, and just to give you a little, in other words, I teach WPM not because I want to make killers, hardly. I teach it because I saw the benefits that could be translated to other weapons and the movement that could help benefit from other systems, etc. And God forbid, if you were to encounter this, hardly, and Renee can even substantiate this as well as Darcy and other folks that are on here that are part of it. That's hardly the thing. But as a whole, what is your lens on prison systems? Do you think they're of value depending on who's teaching them, the methodology, what they're trying to put forward?
Well, one, I haven't seen them all, but I will say that it's good to know what the other side is doing.
I think so.
That's, you know, a basic, you know, strategy 101, I think. Darcy Low Strategy asked, what are some of the knife cults that we know of? Part of the knife cult article I wrote, one of the reasons for it, and I wrote that many, many years ago, was a case where there was this FMA knife group who was very well known for knife, who were teaching, putting out videos of sentry removal, who were teaching videos of knife, what do you call it? Knife ambush technique. Knife versus an unarmed opponent, and just cutting the guy up multiple times till he's dead, and it was really overkill. It was what I call knife porn. And one of their students was with some friends in a bar in Brooklyn or Manhattan, New York, I forget which. And they just had a no smoking ban in the bars back then. Oh, well, let's not talk which one it is. And the bouncer goes, the bouncer's a big guy. Goes to ask him to leave. They said no, got into a fight. So it's 3 petite Asians against this big bouncer. I think it was 2 guys and a girl. I think the girl jumped on the guy's back.
And I can speak on this. I was part of the system at the time.
Okay.
And
explain the rest of what happened.
Yeah, it was 2 guys. Bouncer, was just getting raw, and there was some witness testimony that there was substantiated. The guy was just getting a little rougher than he needed to be, apparently. The kid just kind of panicked for all purposes. Apparently, he was like a really good guy. He just kind of panicked seeing his friend getting kind of mauled over, and he hit. Everybody knows what he hit.
Pulled the knife and hit the femoral.
Yeah, exactly. And sad story on all accounts, because one of the brothers had to, testify against his friend. It just was bad as can get.
Yeah.
However, though, to the head of the system's credit, I thought the other one was more cult-like in what they were showing. Tuhon, I can't say his name, he really didn't allow knife shown in the public. And how I know that is because when he went public, there were 5 of us. 4 of them went to sword, I went to knife. It wasn't public. Like, he did not make that stuff public. I can't speak on now what they're doing. I've been 20 years removed. However, there was another entity that was pretty much showing, I'll leave it to the imagination.
Yeah. So a way to maybe segregate this stuff out. So I have basic videos on my channel that anybody could buy. And then the advanced stuff, the knife stuff, is because it's a public forum, I have to allow people to buy it, but it's the price is like $1,500, $3,000. But if someone has been through a seminar, they can buy the same, they'll get a code and they'll buy the video for $20 or $30. So that can be your filtering mechanism where, and then some things the students can get for free if they're a PTI member. Just put their yearly code, whatever the code is that year, in the discount code box, and they can download that little video for free. So there's a way to do it where you can disseminate it just to the people you want to have it.
So they have to talk to their parents first, or they can just
no, they can just go.
I was talking to Mark Denny the other.
Just curious.
I was talking to Mark Denny the other day, and we're talking about differences in personalities. And I said, remember that scene in the first Top Gun where they tell Maverick the deck or the ground is at 10,000 feet and you're not allowed to fly below that. And he gets in a tight spot. What does he do? He flies below that and wins the engagement. And the boss gets mad at him, right? And I said, remember also the original Star Trek, James T. Kirk in the Star Trek Academy was the only one who beat the Kobayashi Maru program. It was unbeatable, but he beat it. And I said, I'm developing a theory with certain personality types. The natural fighters have not a strong prey drive, but a strong success drive, a strong win drive. And Eric said something in one of his interviews, which is like to fight. And got into martial arts because I liked fighting. I didn't like fighting. I got into martial arts, so I wouldn't fight. But I really got into Tertiary because it's so intricate. I like the details. I like different things like that. But the young males, their testosterone goes up and they get stupid. That's why, when a young guy talks to a girl, he could be perfectly articulate with his friends. He talks to the girl, all of a sudden he becomes tongue-tied because as testosterone goes up, that part of the brain controls language goes down. I have a article on my thesortoffire.com website, which is my fantasy novels, that talk about 7 personality types. And you guys might find that interesting.
Sorry, is this part of your fantasy novels or?
The personalities?
Yeah,
the 7 personality types.
So you had
certain personality types are in the novel. I use it to describe different characters. And another thing I mentioned to Eric, to Mark, I'm working on a theory. I've had a lot of pushback from what I think of as natural fighters discussing FMA timing drills. And my working theory is a lot of those timing drills are not for you guys. They're not for the natural fighters. They're for the guys who are not natural fighters. Natural fighters, it's like a natural swimmer. You can put them in the deep end of the pool. They have fun. They dog paddle. They go to the side. And then the coach they're not panicked. And the coach can easily still teach them better, how to make them better, how to get them proper swimming technique. The non-natural swimmers, you throw them in the deep end of the pool, they panic, they almost drown, and they develop bad habits. So you're better off with that group to bring them into the shallow end of the pool, teach them technique in the shallow end when they're safe, gradually move them out to the deep end. A problem is these days, you see a lot of people spend their whole career at the shallow end of the pool, which is just as bad as being thrown into the deep end prematurely. So part of our job as a teacher.
I'm sorry, I'm just, hey, listen, like either you're a fighter or you're not, and that's part of the law of the land.
My job.
You can't teach people who don't want to fight to fight. It's impossible. It's impossible.
You can make people better.
No, you can't. Better at what?
Hold on. Renee, stop. Time out.
Yeah, please, time out.
Listen to me, please. Listen. Take a deep breath.
Guys,
my job as a defensive tactics instructor, when you're in a law enforcement academy, you have all these guys come in. They pass the test. Your job is to make them be able to defend themselves.
There because they passed the test to make them into that law enforcement section.
Yes,
so
but
you can't tell me that the people. Hold on a second. You can't tell me that the people who passed that test, there's some of them who are better fighters than others. They made that. They passed. They are there for a reason. So you can't tell me that a general civilian who does not have the qualities to fight, that you're going to make them into a fighter, because it's not going to happen.
It's very much like a doctor in an emergency room. Your job is to make them better. Your job is to take them up a level.
What?
This is the people we're given. When we first started, you get, okay, guys, how many people have been in a fight in the last 10 years? And all the hands went up.
I have, yes.
Right. And this is people in the academy, recruits in the academy. As time went on, you get more and more people who've never been in a fight in their life. And the test they took was a written exam, was a physical health exam, and a basic coordination exam of running, and can they sit in a teeter-totter, and can they hold their hands steady where their hands are not shaking as if they're holding a pistol. They're not getting in the face in a boxing match in order to go into the academy. You got a lot of females. You got a lot of people who've never been in a fight in their life. You've got a lot of people of, like my friend, the NYPD sergeant said, came from East Cupcake, Long Island, and never even seen a real street fight. And they're in there. And your job as an instructor is to make them at least have the tools in their toolbox to fight. Are they natural fighters? No.
They're because they are willing to fight. That's the difference.
We've had female officers who were first week on the job get in, they take a prisoner out of the cell, they go before the judge, they put him back in, they go and they hand in their badge at the front, and they say, I quit. This guy was the same age as myself.
Because I didn't want to fight. And that's what I'm saying is there are people who, regardless of what their life experience is, there are people who are willing to fight, and there are people who are not willing to fight. So I know a lot of people who are in law enforcement. I know a lot of people who are in prison, like work in the jails, and they are there because they are willing to put themselves in that predicament and that situation.
Yeah, but there's different skill sets.
Fantasize about it, and they put themselves in a position where they actually have to do that, and they will say, I don't want to do this, because they do not want to fight.
There is a threshold of wanting to fight too. I mean, it's the guys who enjoy it and the guys who do it because they have to.
Necessity.
Yeah.
But that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying there are people out there who realize, like, if you're a bouncer, you realize that one day you're going to get to fight someone who wants to really hurt you.
Yeah.
And if you can't deal with that situation, then you shouldn't be a bouncer. And a
I
lot of
agree with that
people who I've
100%.
bounced with, and a lot of people who I've bounced with who are like, I'm here to hang out with the girls and meet the band. They learn the hard way.
I'm not disagreeing with you. I'm just saying there are people who are, their mentality enjoys it, and they're naturally brave. They're not only naturally brave, they have naturally good timing. There's a lot of attributes that go with that, to me at least, seem to be part of that structure. Richard Marcinko, in his first book, Rogue Warrior, goes into a lot of the camaraderie building techniques and a lot of the natural things that happened with his group. They'd sit down at a table. They'd want to, with the SEALs, sit down at a table, want to be at the table themselves. They're eating in deliberately the most disgusting way possible. They're going and they're picking food up, snorting it out through their nose, laughing so hard. The guy next to him picks it up and eats it too. They're just trying to get people away from them so they can get in their group. And he talks about different personality between the Navy SEAL types and the Green Beret types, who tend to be more cerebral, more quiet. They're both getting the job done, but it's different personality types. Look at between you and Renee and Dean. You're not the same personality type.
Well, we are. I'm just a lot more vocal, and I say that because I like him, and I will speak for his character, just because he's willing to step up. And
it's not bad character.
He's willing to actually meet me after a 10-hour flight, come to my basement, and beat the crap out of each other. Where most people would be like, I have a seminar tomorrow, so I don't want to do this. Dean actually said, fuck it, let's do this and let's fight. And we did. And that's the reason I actually like Dean. That's the reason I agreed to be on this podcast with him. He's just a nicer person. I just don't care. I will tell you how I feel about you.
Isn't that part of personality? If he's a nicer person, if he's a more empathetic person, put it that way. Nice is just something else. But if he's more empathetic, that's another thing in Richard Marcinko's book. The SEALs, the Marines, they tend to draw more natural fighters, more self-disciplined, more do well under discipline. I think you need to read my article on different personality types, because maybe we're having different definitions.
I would like to read that actually as well.
Yeah, theswordofFire.com, all one word.
Dean, you and I?
I'm sorry, what?
Dean and I are going to do a study group. We're going to read that article
together. I'm going to share it to you.
Yeah, I think maybe we're just misunderstanding each other's definitions of things.
Listen, I don't dislike you. I just disagree with what you're saying. And that's the thing I want you to understand.
I'm suspecting you're not understanding what I'm saying. Read the article. Tell me if you once you've read the article, and
sure.
it's 7 Hearts, I believe it's called.
Tuhon, can you send it? Tuhon, can you send it to him?
Yes, I could send it. Well, I could. Do I have your email? No, we're friends on Facebook.
Can you send it to me?
I'll send it to both.
Your message. Yeah, I would appreciate that. You can send.
Yeah, I think you're misunderstanding what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, thank you.
Can we get on to help people? Can we get on to help people who've asked questions?
Yeah, let's do that.
Okay, so basically we're pretty caught up. Let me double check. I could have missed one. There comments are coming in. A lot of comments, and we got 17 folks watching. Yeah, folks, Tuhon Bill's got the leap suit. So if you have a question, please post it now. He's been on medication for 5 days, is not feeling that well. So
you got a rocking hat, by the way, Will.
I'm sorry, what?
I said you got a rocking hat. I love the hat. Thank you.
To teach and who's allowed.
And by no means, I want you to understand, I don't dislike you or anything. I am opinionated, and I'm very vocal about my opinions, but it doesn't mean that I dislike you as a person.
Okay, good to know.
He's mentioned he's got profound respect for you, Tuhon.
Check out
the
7 Hearts article, The Warrior Heart,
this is about
and see what matches up in there.
Okay.
You might find it interesting.
To teach. Okay, here's a question from Kurt. I can even partially answer this since I run the system. And Seth, be happy to jump in, Seth, on this one since you run Medusa. Okay, who is allowed to teach and who is allowed to learn these systems? After the screening and vetting, Kurt, like Renee was saying, you got a gut feeling about somebody. I turn people away, but once I think they're good or I know them from other people, they can vouch for them, and I meet with them on the phone or via a video call, I determine then whether or not they proceed further and actually learning from me. So that's how I go about it. And now, who is allowed to teach? Again, I'm just using WPM as the example here. When people that I know that they're giving good information, they're relaying it, they're not just knife centric with the WPM. They're not saying that's the one and only answer. They don't teach. Matter of fact, they probably wouldn't even last that long, to be honest with you, because by that time I would get a feel from them that they're not in the lane that I really want and all that. So that's my answer based on how I run things in WPM. But certainly you guys do. What do you want to chime in?
Renee, did you just grade and exit directly, or did you just say everybody?
Yeah, no. If you two had something to add to what I just
Renee, you want to go first?
No, go ahead, please.
All right. So, one asked Guy, do you think Guy was a born fighter or was he a product of training? Probably a product of training, but I will say personality makes a difference. My father was a very soft-hearted, kind-hearted man. I told you when his baby was hurt, he went and couldn't pick the baby up, right? I remember when I was a kid, we were on the Staten Island ferry and going, I guess, to Staten Island, little kid. And he was online. My dad was, 5'11", 300 pounds, but most of that was muscle as a wrestler in high school. Big cannonball biceps. And he was worked at a locksmith and was always picking up heavy stuffed doors and whatnot. So a very strong man. He was online in a concession stand to get us kids hamburgers and drinks or whatever. Little guy goes and cuts the line in front of him. I said, buddy, the line is back there. No, I was here. And he got up in my dad's face and he put his hand in his pocket. And all of a sudden, my dad started to laugh. And my mom goes running over, Bill, don't come with us. Come over to the children, come to the children. And took him away. And she said she knew when he started to laugh, it was going to get dangerous. My dad said he was planning to pick the guy up and throw him overboard if his hand came out with anything but skin. And he used to get into fights when he was a kid, and he was, grew up in a bad part of Brooklyn back then. I think Brooklyn was tough back then. But he had a very similar personality to like Guru Santo, to other guys I know who, and in that article,
people
7
like
parts,
myself, sort of thing, or
no, you're much stronger. The warrior personalities get hot quickly, but they forgive quickly, according to what I've read. The what I call physician personality, or merchant person, or diplomat, very, very hard to get them mad, but when they do get mad, there's blood on the walls, and it takes them a huge amount of time to forgive. That's like my dad. That's like Gordana Santo. He tells the story of getting mad at the kids in the high school class he's teaching, and goes and just slams his fist on the desk, and the legs break off and split. So I've seen that many, many times, how the different personality types infuse people's reaction to things and their anger threshold. And they're like a lot of the things you'll see with the natural warrior types. They can fight, they can hit their friends and be friends afterwards, and they'll hit their friends hard and they'll beat the snot out of each other and be fine afterward, be friends afterwards. I couldn't do that. There's a lot of times I'm sparring with Tom Biggio, and I remember he said, you should have hit me then. It would have knocked me right into some mud or something. I said, I don't want to knock you in the mud. I knew I could hit you, but I just did not have it at heart in me to hit my friends hard. And I'm not a soft person. I'm kind of a middle. You'll see the heart thing. I'm what I call a wizard teacher personality. We talk a lot. We talk telling you things. So I really think the personality infuses how you react to things. Leo was another soft personality type, but he grew up in a very difficult situation. His mother died with childbirth with him. He was part of a group of fraternal twins. He had a sister. Leo was delivered, and then the baby girl was delivered dead, and then the mother died. And then when Leo was 6 years old, right after World War II, the father remarried, and the stepmother did the Grimm's fairy tale stepmother thing, and sent him off to live with the grandfather, Conrado Tortal. And Leo's nickname as a kid was Dusty, because he was playing all his toy was dust. They had no money. When he sees, so Leo would tell the story of being given 3 years of footwork as a kid, being on the table, being on the coconut halves, doing footwork while his grandfather was his leg to the switch. And then after 3 years, he took a bucket of water that his grandmother's going to give him a bath in, threw it at the grandfather when he see him work with the great uncles. You're going to train me with stick now. Okay, we'll train you with stick. Years later, he finds out from his grandfather the plan was to give him footwork for 1 year and then go to stick, because the idea was when you go to stick, your hands will have calluses and blisters, you'll be tired. I don't want to hear you complain. But Leo was too patient. He did footwork for 3 years. And I've seen, things like we were hunting in Texas and Leo shot a rabbit and he shot it out of a car, which you really shouldn't do, but, you were in the middle of nowhere in Texas. And Leo was like, felt bad. He's like, well, I had to shoot him. He was right there. You see, he felt bad for the rabbit. His daughters were very, very different. Lisa, the middle daughter, not Lisa, Gigi, the middle daughter, Jade, we were sitting there watching TV in his living room when he had a fold-out couch recliner, bed in the living room where I used to stay sometimes. And we were sitting down on the floor watching TV, and the recliner hadn't been put back yet. And Lisa's there jumping on the bed. The things were sitting on the edge of the bed. And watching TV, talking, and Leo was, Gigi, stop jumping on the bed. Okay, and she's still jumping. Gigi, stop jumping on the bed. Okay, and she's still jumping. And he's like, boom, bang it down. I'm going to bomb you. You don't stop jumping in the bed. Okay. And he jumps up and she runs. And now she's like doing guerrilla warfare, running behind furniture, grabbing a slipper, throwing it at him, grabbing this, throwing it at him, giggling and running around. And Leo picks up, finally grabs her, gives her a swat in the bottom. You're going to stop jumping in the bed? Okay. Puts her down. She runs over, starts jumping on the bed again. She wanted attention. So finally, rolled up the bed and gave her attention. But Cha-Cha, the oldest one, and the baby came later, Lisa, was very soft-hearted. And Cha-Cha also was born very soft-hearted. Would not have done anything anywhere near like that. So you can see kids growing up. Everyone has different personalities. Some of it is birth order. Some of it is inherent personality.
We got a question coming in because I know you got to run, Tuhon Bill.
Yeah, thank you.
We're back. Okay, let's get this last question, and then we're going to let, because again, Tuhon Bill's not feeling well. Kurt, so why can't we teach and show prison knife systems and this? Who tells us that we can, and what authority do they have to say? No one.
Where's the question? I don't see it.
I can tell you right now, if I see somebody, well, I'm not going to name the system, but it's a complete ripoff of Lloyd's material. I'm sure you know what I'm talking about. It's all over IG, Instagram, no credits given, but nobody's saying you can't do it. There's not a police or a cop. I could tell you if you were to start doing it, Kurt, you would hear probably some people from South Africa, if within regards to Piper, but certainly nothing, you're not going to hear anything from me. And I can't speak on Medusa if you were to start doing some Medusa-like tactics. But yeah, as far as authority, it depends on the individuals, and really comes down to is monetary. If they feel that you're taking away from their potential customer, which that's some of that came my way, because who the hell am I to teach Piper in America and call it Western Piper and et cetera, et cetera. But obviously nobody could stop me because I'm certified by Lloyd, Nigel's best student. So hopefully that helps, Kurt. But yeah. Well, Tuhon, appreciate you coming on. I know you're not feeling well.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you for having me. Thank you for your patience, everybody.
Oh, no worries. No worries. No worries. Well, hey,
I'll get off and then I'll send you that the two
I really
articles.
appreciate it. Yeah, thank you. Thank you.
I'm trying to help. I'm trying to do the right thing based on my experience, and
Well, you've proven
take what I say with a grain of salt.
Yeah, you've proven that, so no worries there. But I appreciate it, and yeah, thank you for what's coming and as far as Messenger.
Okay, thank you guys. Good night, all.
Yeah. Okay, just a couple announcements, and whatever Renee would like to discuss. But okay, some people have been asking who is coming in the future. Who really owns the IP on human violence? Again, Kurt, nobody. It's just that they're depending on whose feathers you ruffle. I'm just telling you from my experience. I don't talk about this stuff because I kind of avoid that stuff, but Renee knows, man, it was not an easy. I got a lot of flack when I came out with WPM, and a lot of it came from down below. So I'm just throwing that out there. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
if you're not
and let me say, in all due respect to those guys, they can go fuck themselves.
Yeah, and exclamation point from Renee, noted and documented. But just to let you know, Kurt, yeah, I mean, I'm never going to tell you, Kurt, like, hey, you can't show that stuff, whether it's wrong, incorrect, or not. I'm just saying there's some folks out there that they're going to say something depending on how much you're putting out there and how much it looks like and not a blend. There's some stuff going on IG right now that's upsetting to me because the guy's not giving any credit to Lloyd in there. So yeah.
We have Eric Paulson coming in very soon. We have Adam Sigmuller as well, who's a special forces guy, JTF2 here in Canada. We have Hawk Hawkama as well, who's actually said he's ready to go.
Jeff Berger, we have to figure out we want to bring your guy on first or Jeff Berger. It doesn't matter to me, but
maybe you should pick somebody because yeah, I'm I think
well, talk to your guys. If he can come on next Wednesday, I'll talk to Jeff Berger. But either way, we'll have one of the two.
No, let's bring Jeff Berger in next.
All right, so Jeff Berger.
And guys, sorry, I was a bit moody just because of some of the conversation tonight, and I'm trying to be nice, but it's really hard for me to be nice when some of the BS that I had to listen to. So, and again, Dean's much nicer than I am. He just got a new haircut.
There's no haircut at the Franco house today. I did not.
God damn. Sorry. I was
going to be like that, Dean. Those who are not going to get. Yeah, I know. It's unfortunate. Yeah. Oh, you know what? I think this is the right time to address this. I'm able to, it's not just you anymore. The fact that I'm part of the show, I can basically give out, I just wanted to touch base on that. Oh, Darcy is also going to come on. Brian Canada, when he gets his stuff figured out, is also.
Who's Darcy again?
The guy that jumps around the woods and collects mushrooms and nuts and then makes stuff out of it and eats.
He's telling the truth. So yeah, let's bring him on.
Yeah, and then I'm sure Brent will come on. As far as that, Ray Floro is going to get back to me.
Fuck, man, that was brutal.
Women's self-defense.
Yeah,
Lori, that I'm really looking forward to. So, folks, if you have something you want to discuss, that's like does not have to be FMA centric. Matter of fact, really don't want FMA centric. That's for FMA discussion, which I guess I'll segue into that. So some folks have been asking, what's going on in FMA discussion? What's this, that, and everything? So I'm not closing it down. I am, in fact, I'm just keeping it for some episodes, but they have to be 100% FMA. Matter of fact, the two that are coming up are Lameco-centric, which is kind of exciting because I have a profound admiration for Lameco. And that's going to be a guy who was under Felix. And Mark Denny, hopefully, to come on how the influence impacted Dog Brothers as far as his training with PJ Edgar.
And I'm going to be part of that show too, right?
Yeah, and that'll be a FMA discussion. So, but I'm trying to keep FMA out of this. Yes, Are we going to touch upon it here and there? Of course, but really, this is going to be about anything. We're going to get JKD folks on there and stuff, and women's self defense.
Hey guys, I'm actually working on Carlos Newton right now too, who's one of the original UFC fighters.
Carlos.
So I am. I've known him for quite some time, like way back in the day when I was in my 20s. So I'm dying to get him on here, and I think what we need to realize or remember is that Dean and I are working on reality here, and we may. It's not always going to be pretty, especially having me on here because I have a day job, so I don't really give a shit what I say.
So the whole thing why we did this was there were times. I'm just going to be honest, and this kind of piggybacks off the whole thing with FMA discussion that just took a lot of brunt. Let people take advantage of me, whether it was money being sent, just stuff. I mean, I was taken advantage of, but I allowed it to happen. So ultimately, it is my fault. So the reason why this show is because do with Renee is because there's going to be a nice counterbalance. Nobody's going to be taking advantage here. Renee's going to call it like it is. We're just going to kind of, a bit, and he has a list of great folks. But yeah, are we exactly like in personality? I think we share some commonality for sure. Absolutely. Are there some differences? Yeah, I mean, Renee will take a bar stool hit over your head. I'll probably ask you.
well, like my wife says, like I lack filters. I don't read the room very well, so I'll just say what I feel. But I think what I think that's what we need in this, and I would love to read the messages that have been sent by other people who are watching the show today. I don't care. I'll just say what I feel because I feel that particular way, and that's the end of it. And I think that's what makes this show fun to me. Like I'm having a conversation with people like Dean, who's one of my people, and when someone interjects and says something and I don't like it, I'll just say it. Like I'm not saying I'm right because I'm not always right, but I sure as hell will call you on it. So, anyways, It is what it is. We'll talk about Dean. The one thing I don't understand about Dean's place is he has a blind on one side of the room, but no blind in the back of the place.
It's back.
There it is. Is there a blind in the back of the house too?
No. Me and the blind got in an argument.
So, anyways.
And that's when I stooped down to a very immature Dean and went back to my teens, and we got in an argument, and the blind didn't do well.
So, it looks like your weapons racket, like someone stole a bunch of stuff.
Well, no, I have. So what was happening was it's starting to fall off. So I basically got the stuff in a box, but up there is one of Il Shisimo's original sticks, the great one, right here. This was a stick that Il Shisimo and Burton gifted to me when I got my KI thing, which was absolutely very kind of Bert. But this was from the great one, very dry, light.
To burn it,
but obviously a keeper, right?
Yep.
So,
what's funny is I have a stick that was signed by Guru Dan and a bunch of other like high-end like FMAers sort of thing that I used to fight with, and I pulled it out of my bag and it was all like messed up, and I threw it in the fire one day just for the hell of it. It's like, hey, it's the stick is done, and the signatures meant something when I got it, but at the end of the day, it's what I did, not the recognition sort of thing. So,
no, and
like that certificate you gave me, you don't want to know what I did with it.
Was it used as toilet paper, or was it?
No, I wouldn't do that.
Were you wearing sweatpants when it happened? No. No, I think I was. No, I was not wearing sweatpants, but we got in an argument, me and the blinds, and we haven't made up yet. So, yeah.
So, anyways, I apologize if I came across like too much of a jerk, and I don't apologize at the
No,
same
no.
time.
I mean, when Tuhon Bill sends this thing, I mean, I'm sure you guys will chat a bit, and
I can't wait to read his stuff.
on the some of the stuff I read a few of things, and I found them. I enjoyed them. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
To be honest, yeah. Uh, but so yeah, folks, some good stuff coming up. Jay and Berger, Coach Berger, I'm sorry. He's going to come on next week, assuming he can't now. We'll get somebody else in there. But he's kind of a jack of all trades, but he's what I guess what he's really known for, the ability to mesh them all, and he comes highly touted, um, good reputation and everything. So he's going to come on. I've known him for a couple of years now. Had a few chats with him. He seems like a decent guy. Comes with great recommendations, and then Renee's got a incredible guy who's done some tours and stuff. So that's gonna be really exciting. Um,
8 tours.
8 tours. That's just
8
man.
deployments. He's worked all over the world. And the cool thing with Adam, he is just going to say, "This is what," and he trained with Eric Paulson as well. Just to let you know.
Oh, okay, nice.
So Eric knows him as well. It's going to be one of those. This is what I trained in, and this is what I learned, but this is what I actually used, and that's what I'm
Mm-hmm.
really interested in my training right now. Is like I want the people who are out there and to teach us what we actually should be learning. That's the guy who actually I was talking about with the pie plates. He's the one that taught me to do like burnout drills. My firearms were with pie plates. So it's he has a really bad sense of humor, and his temper is actually shorter than mine.
That's hard to leave. That's gonna be
I give him
interesting.
your address. He can't wait to talk to you.
Somebody that's got a shorter fuse than you. Um, oh boy. Um, I'm trying to think what else. Yeah, actually, so the way I'm looking at right here, based on Eric Paulson, we have like seriously, there's a good 10 upcoming people. So we have enough for February and March, and actually beginning of April, we're good. You know,
Sweet.
yeah, and uh, and actually, I didn't put Hawk on there, so we'll just have to be realistic with some of these folks as far as orders concerned.
Well, I told Hawk it's Wednesdays only, so deal with it. And he said I'll find out.
he's got to be retired anyhow. I mean, so I'm sure.
No, that dude, like I think he still teaches seminars. Dude just got married.
No,
Congratulations.
I saw that. I did see that the marriage.
Very happy for him.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, absolutely. At any age, you should be happy, right? Assuming you're not an evil person.
And so Mark and I are going to be on what day again?
He's supposed to get back to me. He did apparently last weekend. He was working with the San Francisco police. He said upon return he would get back to me. But if he doesn't, then what I'm going to do is the guy that was under Felix, Guru Felix, who unfortunately passed away. I got him on the FMA discussion before he did, though. But sad. But he can come on anytime. So worst case scenario, if I don't hear right away back from Guru Mark, I could certainly get on this gentleman, Dave Crusoe, who is under Felix. So, which should be good. And that will not be on the Wednesday for obvious reasons. So, yeah. And what else? Trying to think what else relevant news. Yes, a couple of you asked about the post I made in FMA discussion. Yeah,
Well,
folks.
you have a new T-shirt line as well, and a line of like tea cozies, if I'm not mistaken.
That's what now?
Tea cozies. You have a bunch of like other stuff that you're selling as well.
I'm not selling the ministry shirt. No way.
Yeah.
This is early ministry when they were really good. So before he went off on the deep end. I don't know what happened to Jordan, man. He just went. I mean, after '89, I don't know what happened to that guy.
I did some work for those guys way back in the day as well.
Yeah, I mean, the whole wax track Chicago scene, that would come out of that front 242, and I mean, but Jorgensen, he just went off the deep end after the, after the mine's a terrible thing to waste, man. I don't know what happened.
Well, he's like a big Antifa kind of guy now, which is insane.
Very sad to hear.
Yes, it actually turned me off to like listen to the music again. So,
but in 1983, he wasn't Antifa. So
no.
So anyway, the post from discussion. Hey, I just want everybody to know, like, I don't see everything that comes in, nor do I approve and deny everything that comes in. There are a couple other moderators. I'm not saying they're as active as I am, but they are there. And so, and here's the other thing too, with this channel, kids, et cetera. I'm going to be honest with you. I don't see all the posts in there. So I really rely on folks, if somebody's breaking the rules, to let me know. I don't have time to look at every post, nor along the comments that are under that post. So by all means, if you see something, let me know. Cycle blinds would be yeah. Oh, that's, well, I don't know if the blind are naming our show Cycle Blinds would have been better than Marshall and Matt. I don't think so. No.
Who said that? You're fired.
Cycle Blinds
You're
would
fired,
be.
Glenn.
Glenn's saying it would be a great T-shirt, but yeah. So, anything announcements from you, Renee, as far as what's happening, upcoming show, this, that?
I'll be in Florida in the second week of March.
Oh, what's going on there?
I'm just hanging out, and some people.
You guys, the whole family? The whole family's going?
Yeah, so the whole family's going on there, but
Incidentally.
I'm back.
Do you remember him?
Yeah.
What's his name?
Routine.
That's right. Gurdine. Yeah, Dab. Thank you. Yeah, we're in Florida in March, and I've been asked to maybe do a seminar or two.
Oh, that's fantastic. Whereabouts in Florida are you going?
I'm going to be in Orlando.
Oh, I wouldn't guess Disney, right?
Yeah, get your hand out of your nose, buddy. Like, people are watching you. And then I'm going to be in Spain in September as well.
So wait now. Okay, you got so in March 2nd?
No, the second week of March.
So like the 9th or 10th, you're heading down there.
Yes.
So if I gotta fly solo,
oh, dude, if we could do something together down there, that'd be awesome.
No, I mean, what do you got going on? I mean, like, what are the venues you're doing?
So we're just we're actually doing a vacation, but I threw it out there. If somebody wants to do some training, to let me know.
Oh, Orlando, there's definitely a few groups there for sure. Matter of fact, I know he's on the plane. Actually, he's in another time zone. He's right across close to Alabama. Dog brother.
Ryan?
No, big guy.
Tibbetts?
Yes.
He's actually moved.
Oh, where is he now?
He is in like Washington State, I think.
Oh, I didn't know he moved.
Yeah.
Oh, wow, that's good.
When he found out that I was going down there for vacation, he's like,
then he packed up the bag and went. I didn't know he moved. Oh, that's too bad for the community down there, because they were supposed to get a dog brother thing going. It sounds like it was catching some momentum. Oh, that's too bad.
Yeah, but I think Ryan is going to March 1st and 2nd. Orlando, Mark Denny and Bill McGrath are doing a seminar. That's just literally 4 days before I arrive, so I'm gonna miss it.
Oh, that's interesting. I didn't hear about that. Huh.
Yeah. Okay. But maybe we should do something while we're down there.
Yeah, if you got a venue and all that, I could just. I mean, it's literally a 2-hour or something flight. I could just hop down there and crash your vacation and get the kids all wound up, and then
I'm there for 2 weeks. My dog is staying in town, unfortunately, because Penelope has to be. She needs a special passport to get into the U.S.
I would miss that dog for 2 weeks. That's gonna be tough. So you'll be there for 2 weeks. So if I don't go, I will be flying solo, which obviously is no problem. As far as the show goes. So what I'll do is I will make sure during those weeks, which we obviously have time, that they're not your guest, just so you
Yeah,
can.
I'll send you the info, and we'll hook it up.
Yeah, like if you got, I mean, I'm trying to think who's in Orlando. So you got there's a couple groups there. Actually,
Right, Glenn, the surf camps in September. I can send you the info. Like the actual resort is sold out, but places next door are selling like rooms for us as well.
so that
And
you're going there. That's September.
yeah, so Arlen's teaching. I'm gonna be helping him out. So I'll be like doing some of the teaching as well.
Oh,
And if everything goes well, I'm gonna get the crap kicked out of me by about another like 14 dog brothers that are out there. So it's I'm finally getting that bee sting. So it's gonna be fun.
I just hope you're working on your cardio, man.
No, I'm doing nothing. I'm just showing up. It's gonna be awesome.
Good heavens. Oh my goodness. Yeah. Let me know. You know what you do? Have you gotten a hold of anybody down there in Orlando? Have you talked to anybody that you could be there?
Well, we just kind of set this up. So we have a condo out there, and we just got invited to stay out there for a couple of weeks. So
But do you
it
know
was one of
anybody in
those
that
things.
area?
Yeah, like my in-laws own a condo out there.
No,
So
no, I know that, but I'm saying, but do you know any FMA guys or martial arts period out there?
I know Ryan. I used to know. Well, Tibbetts just left, so I don't know anybody else in that area. But
Ryan Thomas is in that area.
yes,
He's definitely, he was working on that. That's too bad about Mike. Well, I didn't realize he moved. Wow. So yeah, Mike is, that makes sense. I wasn't seeing any posts with all those guys. That makes sense he moved. But Ryan's out there. Chris Chu is out there. There's definitely, Chris Chu is more, works out of Orlando school, more on the, I think there's some Kabbalists, obviously some underneath. Ryan definitely DBMA.
and guys, I'm not asking to like go out there and teach a seminar. Like if you guys are out there and you want to train, like I'm cool with it. Like
Yeah.
because I'm supposed to go to Disneyland for 2 days, and I would love to miss one of those 2 days.
It's very trying, Disneyland. People, lines.
It's
Things are not conducive to your personality.
I just when I did the math, it's going to cost like $2,000 Canadian for 2 days to be out there.
Staying, going there. Of course, you know, they charge you an absolute fortune for his tickets, and you haven't bought anything yet in there. Yeah.
The worst part is I quit drinking, so it's going to be even worse.
Yeah, you're not going to have something to kind of take the edge off. Yeah, that's not going to be conducive to you. I wouldn't recommend you 2 days and there. It's very trying. There's just mass people. Yeah, at least you're not going though, like in the summer where the heat is just going to be just very overwhelming. Yeah. Off to make dinner. I guess whatever Darcy's skinned, he's going to go cook now. So
yeah, he's whatever he's caught.
Yeah. Awesome. All right. Well, hey, I mean, I'm going to download this, shoot it off, and
I'm glad it went well.
Oh my God.
And I'm glad that yeah, we all got along.
Can't we all? Yeah. I mean, well, at
Like
the
you
end,
said,
you guys.
you were the nicer person out of the two of us, right? So
Yeah, that was mentioned. Yeah. Yeah, definitely. Well, you know.
Oh, and by the way, if anybody wants an official like Toro Clan shirt or a Rob Peaker air freshener, aka Cherry Dog, just let me know. I'm working on it. I got a Dean Franco air freshener coming up very soon as well.
Do you really?
Oh goddamn, I do. Yes. Yes.
Can I get a hint? Like, so it'll.
It's a coconut scent,
Nice.
and it's a maybe one of you wearing a mask, but we'll talk about that.
So mask and a coconut scent.
Yes.
I am truly looking forward to that. Yes.
Trust me. I don't know where these are made. I just kind of order them and I bring them in. The last one I made, I had it in my truck for 2 days and I had to put it in my glove box because my eyes were burning. So it was pretty awesome.
I'm looking forward to that.
Anyways, thank you.
Yeah, I'll download. I mean, obviously you'll see it, and well, I'll talk to you obviously before next week. So yeah.
Yeah, give me a shout later because again, I was being a bit of a jerk. So
No, when he sends it there, I mean, you kind of tied up at the end. I mean, you talk to him, and explain to him that it had nothing to do with him, and yeah. So not as I don't think it's as bad as it is, honestly. So. Toro Clan. What's this, Glenn? Glenn trying to get brownie points. Toro Clan. Glenn.
it's only been around since 2009, but that's
Well, I mean, but nobody's counting. I mean,
who cares? Who fucking cares?
We're not keeping track. But 2009 is basically
Yeah, but if you want a hoodie, I'm actually thinking about making a hoodie with the Met logo on it as well, the Marshall Met logo. Just let me know.
Yeah, that would be. I would love it.
Well, I'll of course include you, so you get some of the money.
Gosh, I mean, that'd be so kind of you. Going way out of your realm here. And also, before we wrap up, folks, I almost forgot. Not most important, but if you have an interest in what the hell these WPM guys do, what are they doing? Those fancy movements and twirls and this and that. It's much more than that, guys. It is a methodology. It is a
Brent, that was awesome.
What do you say? Awesome, guys. That was smooth like
oh yeah,
wire. Oh my god,
that's like going down like a cheese grater slide.
Oh gosh. At any rate, this Sunday, 2 to 4. If you guys are interested in what we do in WPM, again, we're not just knife centric. We look at everything. We look at legality. We look at Western culture, Western ethos, philosophically speaking. So if you have an interest,
who's doing that seminar? Because I'm not wearing my glasses, so I can't see the people in the pictures.
Unfortunately, Nick can't go. So basically, it's going to be me, Jaime, Dr. Dick, Rich, and Brian.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's going to be all the instructors, and we're going to just give our insight on level and material, not just the physical tactics or techniques, but more or less, what we stand for and what makes us different, and our value systems, legally defensible, moral compass. So all that will kind of be we'll be going over as well. Well, I mean, our approach.
Yeah. And Nick, if the odd chance you might be listening to this, my heart goes out to you and your family. So
yeah, it's going down there, huh?
God bless.
Yeah, his brother, father, the whole thing.
Yeah. So
awesome. Then I will see you. Well, I won't see you until next Wednesday, but I will obviously be talking to you.
You got it. All right.
All right. Thank you.
Bye.
All right, guys. Take care, everybody.